feel like this
it
is
looks
like
official.
Yeah, this is like real podcasting. Now this is real. Now this is podcasting.
I wonder if that's like an actual like slogan for a podcast.
Or we should be the first to make that meme if it hasn't been done yet.
We definitely dibs to the internet. This is copyright. You can't say that anymore.
No.
But welcome to the BBB podcast. I'm Sam Collins.
I'm Nick Zamboni.
And we are here today to talk to you about a lovely beer we're drinking today. It is the Sycamore Juice Pops beer. It's very fruity. Very fruity.
True to its name, Juice Pops with pineapple and strawberry. We're drinking a pint of it right now. Where I'm like 3/4 of the way into mine.
I probably have like 3 sips in.
Initial thoughts?
It's very fruity, and
You said that?
I can tell. So it's a golden ale with pineapple and strawberry, and I can definitely taste the pineapple so far, and I kind of like it, but it's like I'm not a big fan of fruity beers in general. But
yeah, I kind of love fruity beers. So when I drink one, I'm a little bit harsher on it, just because it's like the standard is high for what it should be.
Yeah, I feel like the time's not right. Which is interestingly enough, Sycamore released this. Sycamore is from Charlotte, North Carolina. If you did not know, it's a great brewery.
Family owned since 2013.
They do a lot of interesting beer flavors. I was looking online. They had a pumpkin spice golden ale pumpkin spice blonde ale, which
it's going to be immediate no for me. Pumpkin spice.
You don't like the basic white girl beer?
Nah, I don't like pumpkin spice at all, actually.
Well, I like it, but I love pumpkin, so that's why I like it. But I mean, this is good so far. It's just kind of not really the time of year for it for me. I'm looking for more of a stronger beer.
What do you think this is, like a summer beer?
Oh yeah, this is like a summer to fall beer. Like you're starting to get real hot, but then the leaves are starting to change.
What's that? I would equate this. Have you had the Natty Greens lemonade beer?
No, I have not.
Like the pink lemonade ale.
I mean, I've had similar things, but
it's pretty much the same thing. It's like the dirt cheap Natty Greens. Or sorry,
Natty Light.
Natty Light.
Yeah,
Natty Light.
That's why I was like, Natty Greens would not make something like that.
No. It's Natty Light pink lemonade beer or something like that. That's exactly what it tastes like, pretty much.
Gotcha.
It's like a slight bit better than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's Natty Light, so I saw that Natty Light has seltzers now.
Oh, gosh.
And I was like, it's already a seltzer. Like, Natural Light's basically water.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm going to give this 3 tabs out of 5 tabs. Well, I'm going to give 2.5 just because...
Wait, before you open that, we got to tell people what that is. But yeah, would you say 3.5 tabs?
Yeah, 3.5 tabs.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3.
Wait, I said 3.5? I meant 2.5.
Oh, gosh.
Getting me confused.
That escalated quickly. Yeah, 2.5 from you? That's pretty low.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not the right time of year. If this was summer, I'd probably give it a higher rating.
Yeah, I'm going to give it like a just middle of the ground 3.
But, okay.
Well, I guess the middle of the ground is 2.5, but...
But I feel like, I don't know.
It's like slightly, like, I'm taking myself out of the season for a second. Gotcha. I feel like it's slightly better than just average, but nothing to write home about.
I mean, you gave it what is that, like a 60%? So that's better than a 50%. It's failing in some districts. It's failing in my school. But
all right. So what was this beer that you're about to open? I'm actually pretty excited for us to talk about this.
This is the Augustiner Braumünchen Edelstoff.
Shout out to Raphael who suggested this beer. I found it today while I was looking for a couple other things. So really did not want to pass up the opportunity to try it. So Sam, why don't you go ahead and open it up?
Sure.
So yeah, we're back from kind of a long break. Sam and I took some time just to kind of relax. Oh, there's some ASMR for you. We just took some time to relax, kind of get ourselves together, and we're pretty excited to be back and get back into the swing of things.
Like getting ourselves together is more like keeping myself together.
Yeah. It's all good though. We are here.
We are back.
We're back. We back, baby.
And we back.
So, yeah, the Sycamore Juice Pops with pineapple and strawberry. That's the first one we tried. That one's going to be our official one for today. But we actually got this one, the Augustiner. Sam, you gave me a pretty generous pour there.
I still got this whole thing, dude. Like, feel this. Like, I
can smell the hops out of that.
But for some more information about this beer, it is from Germany, actually, the Augustiner Brewery, and apparently it was started in 1328, which is pretty cool. And this was bottled and brewed in Munich.
This tastes just like the beer that I had at the Hofbrauer House.
Oh, it's super hot
in Munich. So this is really good. I'm super glad that we are trying this.
Yeah, this is really different.
Sorry, yeah.
I would definitely drink this again. Thank you so much. Is it Raphael recommended for us?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a third one. Sam, are you...
I promise we're not alcoholics, guys.
Yeah, we're just trying a few things, but I saw this and we had a great suggestion from our friend Josh. Asked us if we were willing to take any bad beer suggestions. I don't know about you, Sam, but my wife loves kombucha. I don't know what you think about kombucha, but I think it is some of the worst stuff that I've ever tasted or smelled in my entire life.
I think the only thing that I like about it is I feel healthy when I drink it.
I feel like I'm drinking vomit when I drink kombucha, and it smells like vomit. This is the Flying Embers Hard Kombucha Ancient Berry with elderberry, goji berry, and raspberry. It's just all kinds of berries up in this joint. It's got 0 sugar.
That's 4.5%
alcohol. Flying Embers. I'm gonna let you have the first taste because I don't know if I'm really ready for that.
All right, I need like a palate cleanser, but I'm just gonna go right for it.
I feel like that's gonna just bustle right through your palate.
It tastes like bad grape juice.
Oof. It basically is bad grape juice when you think about it.
Yeah.
All right, let me try it.
It doesn't really taste like a beer. Well, is it a beer or it's hard kombucha? So it's just like a hard cider kind of.
It's like a cider.
Doesn't suck, but
it smells so much worse than it tastes.
I wish I wasn't congested because I can't smell anything right now.
Oh, it really does smell like vomit. I mean, but it tastes like bad grape juice. Like I think that's exactly how I would describe it. I don't.
Like this is like the communion wine you get at some like backcountry Baptist church. And they're like, we ran out of Welch's, so...
we brewed it in the back.
But I don't know. Will we be able to finish this? Who knows?
Well, probably not me.
So we've already started out with 3 beers tonight. We're
off to a great start.
What do we watch recently?
Well, let's plug our Twitter for a second because we need to talk about that and get people on the bandwagon.
Okay.
So where can people ask Twitter questions, Sam?
At BBB Nick and Sam. And yeah, that's where we dwell.
That's pretty much it.
And if you want to see our individual Twitters, you can just go to that and then follow us through the bio.
We're both tagged in the bio.
I think I'm Green Eggs and Slam.
You are. Okay. You're Green Eggs and Slam.
I couldn't get Green Eggs and Sam, which is disappointing.
I feel like Slam's so much more awesome though.
Yeah, people on my why can't I not talk right now? On Steam, I'm Green Eggs and Slam. So, and people usually talk more like Green Eggs and Slam. Oh yeah,
Slam Collins.
Yeah. Whereas on like Xbox, they have a hard time deciphering my name. Like, what is that? Oh yeah, Green Eggs and Sam. But yeah, please follow us, and also shout out to Adam Donahue for making us the music that we have at the intro and the outro. It is phenomenal, and I get excited whenever I put it in. And
editing that in is pretty fantastic.
I think I'm gonna ask him to do some more music for us that we can just have playing in the background the whole time. I think that would be really cool.
Ooh.
So Adam, if you're listening to this, I already talked to you about it, but yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. I'd love me some smooth jazz, just like some ambiance piano and then some
electro
some
jazz.
horns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, some horns.
Some horns.
Some like Halo theme going on in the background.
Just like 300 guys singing the Halo theme in a bathroom.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I won't suffer through that. So Balls of Fury. We watched the movie Balls of Fury, and mostly because Cats wasn't available.
Yeah, it doesn't come out till April
on streaming,
which
and
is super sad.
I don't feel like I can, with a good conscience, pay money to see that at the moment.
I would pay for a matinee, but
Maybe.
I would not go to on a Friday night.
So before, actually, we can talk about this when we actually watch Cats, but just like fast forwarding for a second, I listened to This American Life podcast, and one of the one this past weekend was all about being a critic, and they did a story about this lady who is obsessed with the movie Cats, and started a podcast called The Podcats, and it's a podcast about the movie Cats.
What?
Yeah.
How many episodes are there?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to check, but we got to go check that out.
Okay.
We need to tag them when we actually go watch that movie, see if they'll
give
any
us
input for us.
Yeah, it's like crazy. Like, there's so many podcasts out there that like will just do one thing and then just make that into like 100 episodes.
Yeah.
And
meanwhile, we're here making a podcast about all these different things and
don't have anything to talk about. It's the name of the game.
Yeah. All right. So Balls of Fury, directed by Robert Ben Garant and released in 2007. Balls of Fury is about a once great professional ping pong prospect, Randy Daytona, played by Ben Folger. He makes it to the Olympics as a kid, and he's the favorite to win. He's regarded as a phenom and is expected to win it all. Randy has an anxiety attack, though, and chokes during his match with the eccentric German Karl Wolfstag when he finds out that his father has placed a bet on him winning in the 1988 Summer Olympics. Randy's father is actually assassinated by a criminal gang leader, Fang, because his son loses the match and the bet does not go through. And Fang is actually played by Christopher Walken. Randy is haunted by this loss and crashes out of the table tennis professional circuit. Fast forward 19 years, and Randy is doing ping pong tricks for drunk gamblers at the Peppermill Casino. An FBI agent, Ernie Rodriguez, played by none other than George Lopez, approaches Daytona and recruits him as a secret agent for the FBI to capture the criminal mastermind Fang, who's also the same person that assassinated Randy's father. Daytona reluctantly accepts and goes to train under a renowned teacher called Master Wong to prepare for the underground ping pong tournament so that he can get close to Fang and reveal his arms deal that he has going on, and basically like supplying terrorists with machine guns. So he trains under Master Wong and suddenly falls in love with Master Wong's niece. Daytona has to defeat numerous legendary ping pongers, and eventually it is revealed that his last opponent will be the German Karl Wolfstag, who defeated him 19 years ago. Fang discovers the FBI's plot to incriminate him and forces Randy into a ping pong death match where the loser is electrocuted to death by a ping pong straitjacket. It is revealed that Fang actually was taught by Master Wong as well, but never finished his own ping pong training and has a weak backhand. Daytona uses this to defeat Fang and escape the facility, saving all of his friends. And that's pretty much the plot. There's a lot of things we skipped over that we can talk about, but ooh, what a hot mess of a movie.
From the get-go, you kind of get the theme that's just trying to be like a kung fu movie, like
Shaolin soccer style movie.
Yeah, where it's like they want to be inspirational. They want to kind of have some over the top with kind of the garishness of the ping pong.
Like, what a ridiculous sport to try to take seriously.
Like one of the first scenes.
For everyone who takes it seriously.
Yeah, ping pong's fun, but Yeah, I'm not good at it. So basically, but it starts out with like the German. What's the German guy's name?
Karl Wolfstag.
Karl Wolfstag, who is very
like over the top,
Yeah.
and like super flamboyant German.
Yeah. And he just kind of, it's like, oh, I see what we're getting into. But it kind of misses the point of being over the top kung fu movie and goes back to where it's trying to be, which is like a comedy.
Yeah.
And I mean, you talked about like kind of the love interest and
So basically, they get to this part where Randy Daytona is training under Wong, and one of the first people he sees is Wong's niece, who's just like super attractive and fit Asian girl, and she's like beating all these young men in ping pong, and she's like playing like 5 people at once, and she like kicks their butts, and he immediately is like, oh man, I love her. and she's immediately like, oh man, you're gross, I hate you. Which, if you don't know who Ben Folger is, Dan Folger. Sorry, Dan. I don't mean any disrespect at all, but he's like Jonah Hill, just like not a super attractive, like fit guy. He's like the comedic, like butt of the joke kind of character, and like you don't take him seriously like ever. You're not someone who's like inspired by him. And so like for this like really young and attractive girl to like ever have any interest in him is kind of far-fetched.
But that changes pretty quickly.
I mean, this is like the part. So the movie was fine. I found myself laughing a lot in the movie, and there's like a lot of things that didn't age well. I think a lot of like racial jokes that haven't,
sexist jokes.
Yeah, things that have not aged well since 2007.
No,
they were funny in 2007. Really, are not funny now. They aren't like timeless jokes like you would find in The Office. You know, that are still cringy but still pretty funny. But yeah, she goes from like absolutely despising him to being head over heels for him and like adores him.
I think the switch happens. So basically,
but the's no reason for the switch.
Well,
and that's the most infuriating thing in the movie.
So Dan is training under Randy Daytona. I'm just gonna say Daytona because that's easy to remember, and it's a fun name to say. Daytona is training under Wang.
Wow. Did you even watch the movie?
Dude, I did, but I'm super bad with character and actors' names. So Daytona is training under Wong, and basically they live in Chinatown, and the gang figures out that they're training this white guy, and they're basically the premier ping pong trainer.
Guilo. That's what they call him.
Okay. And
white man.
They destroy the training area and destroy kind of like his business, and like the 2 main characters and are really bummed out, or the 3 main characters are really bummed out, and it's like, why would they want to keep having a relationship with Daytona because he just ruined their livelihood.
Yeah, everything that he touches turns to dust.
And then Wong's like, hey, I know how we can redeem this. So they go to the underground ping pong area, which that's when the shift happens. Like, as soon as they go down there, she's like, oh my God.
Yeah, she's like, and nothing happens though. Like, he doesn't do anything interesting. He doesn't say anything that like makes her swoon. Just like the first, like, we go from one scene where she despises him and then cut, and then we're in another scene and she's like hanging all over him and loves him and starts kissing him. Yeah. And like, there's no context to that at all. It's like magically they're in a relationship, and it just doesn't make any sense. It makes me so angry.
And I mean, that's like that's what I don't like about this movie. Like, I think it is really funny. I laughed a few good times. Yeah. And then it's just kind of like the character development's not there. Like, I don't feel drawn to Daytona at this point. And then this new relationship doesn't make any sense. And the only character I really like is Wong, because I think he's the funniest character in the movie, because he just says like dry and crass stuff. But basically,
Christopher Walken is pretty amazing too.
But it's Christopher Walken. Like, you can't not hate him. And he's got the best voice in the world. But yeah, I think my main gripe with this movie is just that it doesn't have much development as far as characters go. But it is a very fun movie. And then basically at this point in the movie, Daytona challenges this young girl called he challenges the dragon, who turns out to be this probably 10-year-old girl who has a Dora the Explorer shirt and a Dora the Explorer backpack, and she's basically like the talk of the town when it comes to ping pong. And she's like, I had this legendary serve, and he bats it away every single time, and she's like, I'm not
just
trying.
Like wipes the floor with her.
And then fast forward, they go to, he gets invited to the tournament that Fang is hosting, and they kiss a few more times, the girl and Daytona, and now we're actually at the tournament where Fang finds out that he has to play ping pong or die.
Yeah.
And
he thinks this is going to be this like nice tournament, and then he beats his first opponent. Yeah. And he gets shot in the neck with a blow dart. Yeah.
Dude, that girl was intense.
Yeah.
So this whole time there's this girl who's like, it's like when you think of like an Amazonian woman, like just like tall and
Wakanda
just like
warrior.
Yeah, Wakanda warrior. And she just like has this blow dart.
And everyone that loses, she just shoots him in the neck with a blow dart.
Mm-hmm. And basically just we want to talk about the male prostitutes.
I don't know. Do we want to talk about that?
No. Basically,
go watch the movie.
Yeah. It's like very. It's kind of comedic.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Basically, the Master Wong is blind, and he doesn't know that they're male prostitutes. He thinks that he's having a intimate night with a lady of the night, and it's pretty great. It's pretty funny.
But basically the rest of the movie is just ping pong action, honestly. Like there's not
that is pretty enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Like the slow-mo ping pong or fast-moving ping pong stuff.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, the best part ping pong wise was the ending, but we can get there. Yeah, basically the character, he works his way through the tournament, kind of slowly defeating everyone, and then Wolfsburg defeats everyone else. And it comes to the point where they...
Wolfstock. Not the soccer team, Wolfsburg.
But they're about to fight each other. And then Fang discovers that he is being... he discovers that it's an FBI plot. And he... What's the girl's name? This bugs me.
Forgot to write that down. I can look it up while you're talking.
But basically... He finds out that's an FBI plot, and then he kidnaps the girl and brings her, and it comes to a big dramatic point where Daytona has to play to the death with the love of his life, and he can't.
He's going to bounce the ping pong off her head.
Over
and over.
Yeah, he doesn't want to kill her, so he's like, I'm just gonna accept my fate and die. But she doesn't want him to go out without a fight, and then. Basically, one of Daytona's tricks is that he can bounce a ping pong off of anything and keep bouncing it off of that. So he finds a way to bounce it off of her to continue the match.
Okay, so Margaret Denise Quigley, who is known as Maggie Q, also plays Maggie in the movie.
Yeah, nice.
She was on the CW in the show Nikita, which I never saw, but I've heard about.
Okay. I've not heard of that. I've never watched the CW.
No, I haven't either.
Other than maybe Superman, back in 2007.
Have you heard about, I don't think this is a CW show, but the controversy around Supergirl, the show Supergirl?
No. What's happened with that show?
We can talk about that later, but it's pretty awesome how terrible that show is, Supergirl.
But basically, to wrap things up with the movie, they had he triggers the place they're at. They're playing the tournament. He triggers the self-destruct sequence, and then he forces Fang's hand to duel him to death.
Yeah,
and they end up playing ping pong without a ping pong table, which is I don't how
He changes the rules without telling Daytona, where you can like bounce it off any surface once.
And doesn't matter. Yeah. And essentially he defeats him by serving against him backhanded, which is like the first thing you do when you're playing against someone. You see how good their backhand is.
Like it took him a whole movie to like exploit the weakness of like the first thing you would actually do in a ping pong match. I don't know, but if like the first thing I ever try to do is like hit it backhand.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like the comedic effect. It's like, this is super obvious, and yeah,
that should have been the first thing he tried.
But I think as far as like a rating goes for this movie, do you have anything else? I guess you have anything else you want to say about it?
Not really. And we were talking about this before we started recording, was like what actually constitutes a B movie, and is this really a B movie? And you were talking about how,
in my opinion, this isn't a B movie, and like in my opinion, a lot of the movies we've seen aren't B movies, because historically B movies are, so you'd go see a movie and it'd be Casablanca, and you go see it, and before the movie they'd actually have some kind of lower budget movies that were like, 2 to 10 minutes, and they'd be called B movies, and you watch 2 or 3 of them before you actually watch the premiere movie. And that's how that term kind of came along, but it kind of changed over the years, or became more of about low budget or kind of bad
really
movie.
Bad, yeah. So and that's a great point, because I look at it of more of like the most recent view of B movie, whereas like it can either be a low budget movie or just be historically bad. And so most of the movies we've watched so far are not necessarily low budget. I mean, some of them are, like Birdemic and Death House, I would say, is probably a pretty low budget movie, which we still haven't released that one. But and even Troll 2 was, I would say, pretty low budget.
Yeah, that definitely low budget. But like The Grudge, 10,000 BC, Transformers, the movie, probably not low budget movies.
I think Transformers, you could argue, is a pretty low budget movie.
Yeah, I mean, if it was 80s animated, probably low budget. But it seemed like it was kind of like a big name thing for the time.
I think that is a good point, is B movies aren't just low budget movies now. They're really, really bad movies, and I think Cats is a really good example of that. So when we get to it, that'll be a really fun episode. But it doesn't have to just be a low budget movie, but it can be something that kind of jumps the shark or does something so terrible that it gets notoriety. And I think I even agree with you. I don't know that Balls of Fury meets either of those
categories.
Categories, because it's pretty bad, and the story has some major plot holes and has some huge issues, but it's not so bad that it's known for being a really bad movie. If that makes sense.
Like, I mean, this is kind of like the Hangover type of movie, but it's not as funny, basically, where like the intention is kind of over the top comedy, but it just doesn't meet that mark.
You could look at it this way: it's a really bad, it's one of the worst decent comedies of its time. If that makes sense. It's like bottom of the barrel of like a good time.
And this is the second ping pong movie that came out in 2007.
Talk about that, please.
So Ping Pong Playa, which we have not seen.
Ping Pong Playa.
I was just looking up to see the actors for this movie, and I saw a ping pong player, and I was like, wait, this came out the same year?
Wait, is it Ping Pong Playa?
Playa, like Playa.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I had an H at the end, but but it's basically kind of similar concept where this guy ends up playing ping pong again and rediscovers his love, but it's also a comedy and also kind of a romantic movie, like everything is. But it got higher ratings. It was it had like a 68 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I guarantee you that movie had a lower budget than Balls of Fury.
Oh, 100%. I didn't know any of the actors. One of the guys looked like Yao Ming, but he wasn't like 7 feet tall, but kind of similar.
If Yao Ming didn't play basketball.
But he did play basketball at the beginning of the trailer.
Oh.
But we might watch that eventually, or probably
that sounds like a good one to put on the list.
Yeah, but I think I'd give this movie honestly a C tier.
C tier.
Yeah, just because it's like, I don't think it's good enough to be a B tier, and I don't think it's, well, yeah, it's like in between a B and a C tier, honestly, for me. It's more on the B tier side, but I'm just going to give it a C because I wouldn't want to watch this again.
Yeah, I look at it on the same kind of scale as The Grudge, where it's budget-wise and production-wise, it's definitely not a B movie, and it's not bad enough to say that it's like historically terrible or like you need to go see it because it's so bad. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the same page with you. I'm going to give it a C tier for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's one of the few that we are in agreement of.
Yeah, that is. But I guess, what have you been watching lately, Nick?
Oh man. So I guess we're gonna move on. Anything else about the movie?
No, I think I had everything I wanted to say about it.
Cool. So me and my wife have just started watching the Clone Wars animated series.
I love it.
And I was telling you earlier that I haven't seen most of the Clone Wars, even though like I've read everything about the lore and I know all the history that's there. So everything I'm seeing is information that I already know, but I haven't seen any of anything past season 1. And so it's kind of like a really good it's a really, really good journey. And even though it's like really hokey and cheesy in the first couple seasons, it's supposed to get really, really good and kind of less kid oriented, a little bit more adult enjoyable, like nerd out on it. So I'm really enjoying it. I think it's going to be a good series to get through. And then I'll probably watch Rebels after that. I haven't seen any of Rebels.
I haven't seen Rebels either.
Yeah. And apparently that's pretty decent.
Yeah. You got a lot to watch though.
There's 6 seasons of Clone Wars.
And they're all like 20 episodes each.
Yeah.
They're all 30 minutes.
Yeah. There's 20. Well, it's like 24 minutes. So it actually does not take, like we can do like 2 or 3 episodes like pretty easily.
I started to rewatch Clone Wars, and then I'll probably continue watching it, but I was like, I just want to watch season 7.
Yeah. It's pretty great. I'm excited to keep watching and like get to see some of the lore and stuff that I know about kind of put to the screen.
Yeah, I think
pretty enjoyable.
The one thing I really enjoy most about Clone Wars, in my opinion, Clone Wars is the 3rd best animated series of all time.
Wow, that's pretty high praise.
Batman the animated series, the best one,
with Mark Hamill. Okay, gotcha.
And then Avatar: The Last Airbender being number 2, and then Clone Wars, kind of like.
What about Samurai Jack?
Nah.
What?
Yeah. Well, I just think like in terms of like story and continuity, like I could watch Clone Wars like a few times in my lifetime. Where Samurai Jack I'd watch like maybe twice in my lifetime.
Gosh. Okay, let's do this. All right, top 4 animated series. Go.
Well, you already got my top 3, so let me think about the 4th one, and then you.
All right, so my top 1 is gonna be Avatar: Last Airbender for sure. Is like my favorite animated. I'll have to say that my number 2 is going to be Samurai Jack.
Okay.
My number 3. My number 3 is the Gundam series. Is
Karen's watching that right now?
Actually, I gotta take that back. My number 2 is going to be Gundam. My number 3 is going to be Samurai Jack. I don't know what my number 4 is going to be. My number 4 is probably going to be Clone Wars because I'm really, really enjoying that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gundam is really good. Wingsuit Zero is like the coolest thing ever.
It is so good.
That
was like my entire childhood.
Yeah.
Was the Gundam series.
My sister is watching it now, and I'm like, can I come and watch it too?
Dude. I'm like absolutely not like an anime nerd, even though I have a couple things on the list to talk about tonight that are anime related. So it's kind of ironic to say that, but or even manga, but the manga version of the Gundam series is like on my wish list, and I really, really want to read it.
That'd be really cool.
Yes.
There's like some.
It's Mobile Suit Gundam, not the. It's different. It's a little bit different than the actual original. Yeah.
I like Mobile Suit Gundam better than actual Gundam, just because it's more. It feels more adult.
There's there's a few different.
There's a lot of series,
of it, yeah.
It's like a Godzilla type thing where it's like, I don't know which is which.
which iteration is this?
Yeah. But I think I'm like tied for my 4th between Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
and
how could I
then
not put that in there?
I'm blanking on what else I wanted. Rocket Power.
Oh, Rocket Power.
And SpongeBob is like an honorable mention, but I like didn't watch SpongeBob in its entirety, so like I feel like it's not up in the running.
Yeah.
But I think it would be Dragon Ball Z.
Anime
closely
weebs are screaming right now.
Yeah. So many people are like, SpongeBob's #1. But Clone Wars Season 7 so far is really good. I'm excited for you to continue watching the series and then get to where I'm at. Because Season 7 is, the production quality is like 10 times. I don't really remember Season 6 at all, but like, it seems like it's like, this is a movie.
Oh, yeah?
And yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, the first season is really...
It's kind of cringe.
Yeah, it's pretty cringe. You gotta kind of suffer through it.
But yeah, it's fun still. Like there's some episodes I'm like, why am I watching this? And then there's like, oh yeah, because of this.
Cool. On that note, Castlevania Season 3 just came out on Netflix recently. I've seen Season 1. I haven't gotten around to seeing Season 2 yet, but I highly recommend. If you are a Castlevania fan or an anime fan in general, I'm not necessarily an anime fan. I do like certain types of styles, and Castlevania is like definitely one of those things that's up my alley.
Yeah.
It's like kind of slow, but also really like violent and like dark anime, which is kind of cool. So Castlevania Season 3, if you haven't seen Castlevania and that's kind of your thing, you should definitely go check it out because I'm planning on giving it a look.
Season 1 was good, and I just kind of didn't keep up with the show just because there's too many things to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that I saw that I'm really interested in is if you remember last year, Riot did their 10-year anniversary where they kind of announced like, yay, we do more than one game. We're called Riot Games, but we do more than one game.
It's not just League of Legends.
Yeah. So the one thing I'm excited for the most is it was called Project A, which they kind of hinted at kind of like a Counter-Strike type of game. And they kind of released some more news on it. It's actually called, let me see, it's called Valorant. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, Valorant.
And it's kind of looks like it's going to be Rainbow Six Siege meets Counter-Strike, where you can pick a character and you have abilities, and you're also playing this bomb type objective game. And I have not, apparently there's some gameplay of it, but I have not actually watched any of it. But I'm excited for this because I love what Riot does with League of Legends, even though I don't play it. And I love Counter-Strike. So I feel like Riot's going to do a great job, and they've probably been developing this for a very long time. And I do kind of like the class-based style games like Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege as well. Cool. So it'll be an interesting spin on a very competitive game such as Counter-Strike.
I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on Overwatch 2.
I don't think, why are they making Overwatch 2?
Yeah.
That's what I think about it. They should just, I mean, it's been out for like 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
Which is like a long time, but they've been like continuing to develop for it and making new heroes. So I don't know. I hope they just have all the characters that they had in Overwatch 1 and then just like add more stuff and more characters.
Do you have a problem with them releasing like a second version of the same game?
No, because most developers are quicker to release the second iteration.
I think I would be more okay with it if they called it something different than Overwatch 2.
Why do you got a problem with it? Like, people have been doing, game developers have been doing this for
because I
decades.
pre-ordered Overwatch and I want validation that was a good idea, and I don't feel like it was because I don't play it anymore. But yeah, I don't really have that big of an issue with it because you make a really good point that that's just kind of the nature of gaming right now, and that's kind of what's happening. I mean, take Battlefront for example, which is like one of my favorite games. It's not that different. Battlefront 2 is not that different than Battlefront 1, like at all. I mean, there's some really big differences, but you could make the same argument that it's kind of
the same concept of the game.
Yeah. So I don't really have that big of an issue with it. I just thought I would ask the question.
Yeah.
Tell me about Apex. You were talking about the patch.
All right, let me actually pull this up. But Apex released a patch today, and So I think it was last week or the week before, they made Kings Canyon a map again, which
is pretty great.
Yeah, because King Canyon was way better than the actual map that they have, which I don't even remember. That's how great it was.
Stimulus overload.
Yeah, it was stimulus overload. But my phone crashed, so I won't be able to pull this up for like 30 seconds. But, so they released a patch today, and the first thing that I remember off the top of my head was the biggest change with it was that they actually changed the backpack sizes. So if you don't have a backpack, then your initial slots is 10 as opposed to 8. And then they basically upped the ante for all the other backpacks by 2, if I remember correctly. And which is, I mean, if you ever played Apex Legends, you're always like, I need a backpack. I can't pick up anything.
But and even like the level 1 backpack is basically a handicap.
Yeah. And so that's really interesting. But one thing that they did to kind of counterbalance that was they changed like kind of the quantities you can have for items. So like shield batteries, which is like a commonly used item, they actually made it so you can only carry 2 in one slot as opposed to 3, which is a pretty big deal. And just because, and they also changed the shield cells from 6 to 4. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how managing inventory changes with these new patches, or this new patch that already came out. But that was like the biggest thing that I saw that would have a very big change. And then also Bloodhound, his tactical ability, his scan distance was increased 3 times. So they're trying to make him more kind of a preemptive, like stalker type of character rather than a reactive kind of, I need to see where everyone's at. But yeah, there's like some pretty interesting updates. Like they changed a few weapons. They made the Sentinel a little bit better. It does more damage. It reloads faster. And I already like that gun. The Peacekeeper got nerfed. They changed some of the muzzle flash so that there's not as much on a lot of the guns. And then they fixed some bugs, which apparently Bangalore with certain skins was invisible in certain areas of the map. So I'm glad they fixed that. But I played a little bit of Apex over the past couple weeks, but I think with Kings Canyon coming back, I'll probably play it a little bit more. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Cool.
And I just want to try out the new changes.
I'm definitely interested in playing more of Apex if I can play Kings Canyon, because that's just like my comfort zone, you know? Like the new map. What was it called? What was the new map called?
Don't
worry about it. Yeah. But it was just so much. Like there's so many options, and it was just kind of overwhelming, to be honest. Like there's just,
it felt like there was a lot of choke points on them. Like it was open, but there's a lot of choke points that you could do.
And whereas like Kings vaults and all that kind of crap, and it's just like, give me back regular Kings Canyon.
Because Kings Canyon is just kind of, it feels like more of a free for all than like where like this new map feels more tactical. Which I mean has some perks to it, but Kings Canyon's great. And thank you for bringing it back, Respawn.
All right, I mentioned Battlefront earlier. There was just a new update for Battlefront as well. Ewok warriors are now a thing, and ISB agents, which are from the animated series. So that's kind of a cool callback to that. They just added a bunch of original trilogy.
Wait, the animated series, like Clone Wars, or?
I can't remember if it's Clone Wars or Rebels, but the ISB agents are from the animated series. Okay. So it's kind of a cool, like they added something from the animated series, and I'll get to my thought about that later in a second. But they added a bunch of original trilogy content and maps. There's like a triple XP week that's going on right now. So if you play, I actually just started playing co-op. Which basically means you and 3 other real players play against the AI and basically just essentially a mass murder of the computer.
Okay.
It's like instant action, but against the computer. And
yeah, so like the old Battlefronts.
Yeah, it really is. But you're only playing against the computer, but it's really hard because the CPUs, they're they like use strategy, and like they'll roll and like do like quick scopes and like stuff like that. So there's no setting difficulty from what I understand. So like you really have to try. Like you can't just. There's a couple of maps where you can basically demolish the computer, like Tatooine. There's like a choke point, and if you're like Boba Fett, and you just like shoot rockets the whole time, and like they'll never get out of the tunnel. Yeah. But like I've lost like numerous times just because my teammates are potatoes, or like we just get overwhelmed. Like if you're not, like you have to be on the point like the whole time, and if you're not, you might lose.
Yeah, I mean that's the point with playing against players, like you're gonna know that they're just gonna be going for kills most of the time, but the AI is always gonna be going for the objective.
Yeah, but the whole point is it's triple XP weekend, and those computer kills count as real player kills. And so, like for example, I leveled up my Boba Fett like full stacks, like all of the star cards are leveled up completely.
Nice.
And so you can do that with any of the heroes right now, or any of the units. So like if you're a new player or you haven't played it in a while and you're trying to like rank up, they're going to bring back the triple XP like consistently.
Sweet. That's a good idea, because I just got back into it, and I'm sure there's a lot of other
they're doing that till Wednesday. They extended it because the servers crashed over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
So anyways, Battlefront, EA is doing something right. I'm actually pretty appreciative of how responsive they are to the community. If the community says something, or if something happens like the servers crashed, they'll make up for it on the back end, which is not at all in EA's character. But
DICE.
EA has kind of the say in that. But yeah, DICE is really responsive and doing a lot of really good stuff. So shout out to them for really making some moves.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we watched the Candyman trailer, which is Jordan Peele's new movie, which I love Jordan Peele.
Get hyped.
What was his last movie? It was Get Out, and then
Us. He's had another movie, I think, but I can't remember what it is.
Which Us was good. Get Out was great, but this Candyman seems like more of a kind of like a monster kind of horror movie. And you were saying this earlier, Nick, before the podcast, that this is like the first time he's done like an actual like monster horror movie, which I'm kind of interested to see.
Yeah, they're normally like psychological horrors, and this still seems kind of a psychological horror because there's a twist to it. You should go watch the trailer because it'll kind of give a few things away. I don't want to spoil it for everyone, but it is a psychological horror because it's a twist on. I haven't seen the original Candyman, but it's a twist on the original story, but it is still like a monster movie because is the Candyman.
Yeah. And the main actor, which I am blanking on his name, I really like him, and he's been in another horror movie recently, but I can't remember his name. But you should check it out, that trailer.
If you play Crusader Kings 3 or are excited about Crusader Kings 3, then you will find this information pretty funny. Sam told me this before we started recording, that you can now seduce the Pope in the intrigue options. Pretty excited to see that. I don't know if I'll be the one to do it, but I'll watch probably a YouTube video of it. It's pretty awesome.
That has a lot of political ramifications for sure, especially in Crusader times. But
okay, Sam, I have a question for you actually. Yes. We're sitting here at your desk. I love the plant that you have next to our computer.
Thanks.
It's very makes it feel super official in our little podcast area. But all scattered around us are some Magic the Gathering cards. Are you playing Magic the Gathering?
So I just got into playing Magic the Gathering Commander, which basically Commander is like you have 100 cards and each card is unique. And it is a 2 to 5 player format, I believe. It might be 2 to 4, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 to 5 player format. And I've been playing with my friends Josh and Mitchell, and it's been really fun. I forgot, I like strategic games, but Magic the Gathering is about as strategic as it gets, and there's so many cards that this is just a big learning curve, basically. And I bought my own Commander deck, which apparently this is highly rated. I spent $60 on it. So.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I've been playing Magic the Gathering Arena, which has been it's basically like the computer version of Magic the Gathering, and it's a really easy way to kind of learn the game. And I really enjoy it. And if you want to play Commander with me, I usually play on Saturdays with Josh and Mitchell, and then we either go to our house or go to a shop and play against some other players, and it's really fun.
Cool. I'm going to ask you more questions on that in another episode.
Okay.
All right. I want to try something out. This may not be the final iteration of this segment, but I want to do an Everything is Awful segment. So Sam, I'm going to don't look.
Okay.
Don't look. I'm going to ask you, or I'm going to say some words to your face, and I just want to hear your visceral reactions to the words that come out of my mouth.
Okay.
So this is a section or a segment called Everything is Awful. I'm going to say some awful things to Sam, things that I found on Reddit that should never be brought to light. Okay. And I'm going to start off.
How inappropriate are these?
No, none of them are going to be super inappropriate.
Okay, sweet. I like that.
If you really want to see some...
Oh, I believe it.
If you want to see some horrible things, go to the Everything is Awful subreddit.
Okay.
Please don't do it, but if you really want to, there's some terrible things there.
Dude, there's a lot of terrible things on Reddit.
I'm going to start off light. Okay. Just want to hear your honest reactions to these things. People who open milk cartons on the wrong side.
I'm that guy.
No, Sam. No.
I love milk cartons, but like sometimes I just like to make life a challenge and open it the wrong way. But it's like really difficult, dude, to like drink from it when like you open it up.
That's like why I don't drink milk out of milk cartons. It's
like because you get like, you know, like the texture it has, like when it gets wet, like, oh man, like I have a lot of good memories of drinking milk in high school, middle school, and elementary school, but I do not want to have that texture, and especially the wrong end, because it has a worse texture than the actual place where you're supposed to drink from.
Okay, this one really speaks to me because I work in a public setting and I see this every single day of my life, and it makes me want to strangle someone. People who don't people who don't wash their hands after using a public restroom.
Oh my gosh, dude. Those people are the worst. So I have this like habit that I do that I've been doing probably since like I was like 6 years old, where I always grab a paper towel after I wash my hands and open the door handle and then throw it out. Because
I have seen way too many people walk out of like the toilet after dropping like the biggest deuce in the world and not washing their hands. Like I kind of understand like peeing. Yeah. It still makes me think you're a terrible person if you don't wash your hands after using public restroom. But like if you drop a deuce in a stall,
you better wash your hands.
You wash your hands. Like those particles are all over you.
Yeah. Come on. I should wash my those people are the worst.
Pimple popping YouTube videos.
Ooh. I know a lot of people like those videos, but like that's disgusting.
Have you ever seen those?
Yeah, I've like watched one because like one of my friends like, you gotta watch this. This is so satisfying. You gotta watch this. I think it wasn't Alex because I would remember if it was Alex, but it's disgusting.
Yeah. Okay. Eyeball tattoos.
Oh, that sounds so painful. Why would you do that to yourself?
Apparently it's a real thing, and I'm pretty sure that it has never ended well so far.
Yeah, it seems like you'd have eye damage.
Yeah. There's not much to say about that. Yeah. People selling hand sanitizer for jacked up prices because of coronavirus.
Well, it sounds like capitalism right there for you. Power to them. But I have not experienced this or seen this. But yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
Which, a fun thing on that, it's like, I saw this article today. It's like, why are anti-vaxxers rushing out to get masks and hand sanitizer when they can't just get flu shots?
That's going to be a big oof for me. Yeah. Ugh. You can't make that kind of stuff up. All right, 3 words for you.
Okay.
Taxidermy, beer koozie.
Oh, gosh. I mean,
imagine a taxidermied raccoon as a beer koozie.
Dude, I assume taxidermists clean the animal a lot, but that still sounds very sketchy. And yeah, I would not do that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if it was like a tiger print or something like that, like something cool. But yeah, that sounds weird.
Last one. Shaking someone's hands and they have wet hands.
I mean, I struggle with sweaty hands, so I feel bad. I feel bad for people who sometimes shake my hand, and I totally understand that. If you have wet hands, own up to it and just apologize. Be like, hey, I'm sorry, and then people understand.
Wet hands crew, stand up.
I'm standing up right now. Oh gosh, my legs.
Cool. Thanks, Sam, for humoring me. I kind of loved that.
That was fun. I'll do that for you in a future episode.
Awesome. We'll bring that back. I thoroughly enjoyed that. All right. We don't have a whole lot left. We have a couple questions, we have a Twitter question from last episode and a question from our friend Zach.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you're gonna have to think about this one because I actually haven't thought about this.
I haven't thought about this one either. I don't know if I can think of it.
Here, we'll do Zach's first.
Okay.
And I'll let you read about Dan Folger. All right, so here, I got it up already for you.
Oh, really?
So Zach's question is, hey, can you tell us more about Dan Folger, who played Randy Daytona in Balls of Fury, and what other movies has he been in?
So, Dan Folger is actually an October birthday, so shout out to those October birthdays. He is, when I first saw him, I was like, he looks like he could be Jonah Hill, and we talked about this earlier, but he kind of plays that where he's just a comedic relief. But he was in Balls of Fury. He was in both Fantastic Beasts movies, which I don't remember which character he is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So I think he probably was not a big character. But he also was in Kung Fu Panda and is in Walking Dead currently. And
Season 9 of Walking Dead, which is not a good thing.
But he...
R.I.P. Walking Dead. I wish you were what we started with. Yikes.
But, yeah, he actually is a Broadway actor, which is kind of cool. And he made his debut in the 25th annual... What the heck? He was... Folger made his Broadway debut when he originated the role of William Barfy in the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. Which I was like, is that a Broadway? Like, what?
Is that really something that should be on his Wikipedia?
Yeah, but which apparently he won a theater award for, so props to him.
Yeah, I honestly can't think of anything that I remember Dan Folger being in, and I really don't mean any disrespect to him, but Balls of Fury is probably the pinnacle of his career at the moment. I mean, he's in Walking Dead, which I guess some people are still watching, but Walking Dead Season 9 is not the same show as Walking Dead Season 1 through 4. And honestly, I was like one of the big fans of Walking Dead when it first came out, and man, has that show taken a turn for the worse. So I guess that's cool for him that he's in Walking Dead, but man, is it not a good thing for your career to be in that show.
I definitely have seen Dan Folger before in movies, but just because he has a very familiar face to him. But I mean, he's in a lot of comedy movies.
I think he did a good job in Balls of Fury.
Oh yeah, like he was a very funny and fun guy, and that's what his character was.
Seems like a funny and fun guy. Yeah. All right. Our friend Joey asks us, what B movies would be considered A movies if they were produced today? And what if you reversed that?
Transformers the movie would be... Well, it's debatable.
No, yeah, I think that's a great one.
Well, yeah, I mean, knowing how big Transformer movies are today, like if they made an animated movie about it, it'd be really big. And
do you think they would do 3D animations or 2D animations?
Oh, 3D, man, you gotta go big or go home. It'd be IMAX.
Yeah.
I did not think of this question.
So I kind of have a thought, and if you take any of the prequel movies, and this is like something, and this doesn't really answer Joey's question, probably the way that he wants or intended this question to be answered, but this is kind of where this question led my thoughts to, was if you kind of look at the prequel movies for Star Wars, when they first came out, they got such negative reactions, but now looking back on them as like a work of, like a whole body of work, they're kind of looked back now at, wait, those movies are actually not that bad, compared to like the sequels that have come out and just kind of the outrage of like original Star Wars fans not really appreciating it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting to think about how you have some movies that come out or are released and they get negative reactions or even positive reactions, and then years later that perspective completely does a 180 and people look at them in a completely different light. And like part of that may be a nostalgia thing where it's like, oh yeah, do you remember when that first came out and all the feelings it made us feel? Like, even if you didn't like the prequel movies, like I remember when I saw them, like I loved it just because it was Star Wars content and I was getting to see it, like freaking Darth Maul, like hell yeah, love that. And like people look back on that with nostalgia. And so I think there's like a lot of movies out there that are like that, where years and years later they're looked back at with reverence. Like Blade Runner is a really, really good example. Blade Runner did terrible at the box office and did not get good reviews, and then now it's regarded as one of the best sci-fi movies of all time with Harrison Ford. And so I just watched it recently. Like the remastered version is fantastic. So if you also have that dynamic where they've gone back and remastered movies and made them production wise to the standard of today's production. Like the original Blade Runner doesn't look like a modern movie like made today.
Yeah.
But it looks like a movie made in the past 5 years. Like it's that good. So I don't know if you can really answer that question like specifically all the time, but like those are my thoughts when I hear that question. Is you have some really iconic movies that were probably either
Too early
or like they've been remastered and now they're like perfect. So yeah, I would say Blade Runner is a really good example of that, and any of the Star Wars prequels are really good examples of that. Yeah.
I think that's a really good spin on that question.
Yeah,
I like it.
cool. Let's look at our list of movies, and maybe that'll give you like a thought on it. I was thinking like, here, let's see. I was thinking M. Night Shyamalan's Last Airbender would be a really good one to see released now instead of back when it was released.
I mean, I think if they just had anyone else do it and they weren't so political and corporate about it, then they would have not screwed it up.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. But I'm going to give you your example, or I'm going to tell you what yours is. Yours is Avatar: Last Airbender.
Sure.
By M. Night Shyamalan.
When he asked me this, I had a very difficult time. Like, I would have to like look at a list of movies. I can't just think of something.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, no worries. Any closing thoughts, Sam?
No. I'm excited to play some more Magic the Gathering this week, and we'll have time to play Magic the Gathering this week. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what we have in store in the future. And please tweet us any beer suggestions or B movies that you would like us to watch, or if you have any questions, please let us know.
Yeah, tweet us some topics to talk about too. We'd love to explore more subjects and talk about what you guys want to hear about. So you know who you are. Tweet at us, let us know what your thoughts are, or you can text us because you probably have our phone number. But yeah, BBB or at BBB Nick and Sam on Twitter. It's the best way to get out to us.
Yeah. And thank you guys. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Peace.